Volunteers join Little League players and families to try and clean up fields near Landreth Park after destructive flooding. The Missouri Department of Conservation invites kids out for an archery program. Webb City Police offering ID kits for kids at the Webb City Farmers Market.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
One man is dead and another behind bars in a homicide investigation in Barry County. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Chris Warner. Officials with the Barry County Sheriff's Office say just after 6 yesterday evening, they received a call of a body in a field near Farm Road 1078 and Farm Road 2140. Deputies found 25-year-old Dalen Michael Anderson of Monette dead from an apparent gunshot wound. Authorities arrested this man, 21-year-old Dylan Rickson Williams of Monette, in connection with the investigation. Williams has been charged with second-degree murder and armed criminal action. Sheriff's Office requested assistance from the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Well, volunteers came out to Landreth Park earlier today to work on cleaning up after Thursday's flooding. The Joplin Little League says this is the worst flooding they've ever experienced. They say everything is fixable, but to do so will take a lot of time and money, which is difficult because they are a nonprofit. They hope by cleaning up today they can get ready to play again by Tuesday night, but say that eventually they will have to move to a new home.
Moving forward, we're going to have to build a new facility. We'll have to get out of here. The stormwater work is doing a great job clearing out the city, but it's bringing it all here. And the better job they do, the shorter time we've got here.
Joplin's Little League says to move, they're going to need support from local businesses and the community to cover things through material and monetary donations. Still dry today, but chilly for May. Nick Kelly joining us.
Something we're not accustomed to saying at all, Chris, considering we should be in the lower 80s for late May, let alone the Memorial Day weekend. It's all because of stubborn cloud cover we had during the day, but better late than never. Some peaks of the sun before we get to sunset this evening. No rain, thankfully, to speak of, so we're continuing to dry things out from all the rain that we've seen over the past several days. That being said, while we are seeing some breaks in the clouds, our next wave is out west, prompting severe weather in eastern Colorado. While the severe weather doesn't head our way, that wave will start to bring rain chances back in fairly soon before you know it. Right now, though, with that break in the cloud cover, we're trying to push into the lower 60s before we hit sunset this evening. But once we do, we're back into the upper 50s by 8, lower 50s by midnight, and I'm thinking mid 40s during the overnight. So another cool night ahead of us, Chris. But a warming trend is on the way. And unfortunately, more rain chances too. So we'll break that down in the forecast here.
Seems like we can't get warm without the rain.
I know, but at least we're enjoying this dry time while we got it.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Well, archery is gaining popularity in the 4 states, so whether one chooses to use archery to hunt or just for fun, it's important to know how to safely practice the sport. That's why the Shoal Creek Conservation Center is hosting events surrounding the fundamentals of archery. At today's archery class, people of all ages showed up to learn how to properly shoot a bow and arrow.
It's a lifetime sport. You can start it as there were some pretty small kids in here. We opened the class up to 7-year-olds, and there's older folks in the class. So you can shoot as long as you want, as long as you're able, and it's enjoyable.
After taking part in safety and educational lessons, archers were then able to test out their skills on a course. Officers with the Webb City Police Department could be found at the Webb City Farmers Market in King Jack Park today, all in the name of child safety. They were handing out free child identification kits so parents could add their kids' fingerprints and other identification factors, which can be a huge assistance to law enforcement if a child goes missing.
During that situation, they're emotional, they're upset. It's hard to get information out of them, or, pertinent information especially. Once they give us this, we have it. It saves them from having to, answer questions that they're not wanting to answer right at that time.
If you weren't able to make it to the Webb City Farmers Market today, you can fill out a child ID kit at the Webb City Police Station or visit them at the Farmers Market in the near future. The department typically announces when they're handing out the kits on Facebook. Well, Americans are breaking out this Memorial Day weekend, traveling in numbers not seen since the pandemic forced the nation into lockdown more than a year ago. CBS News correspondent Michael George reports from New York.
As COVID-19 restrictions are lifting, Americans are making their great escape this Memorial Day weekend, in the skies and on the open road.
It's nice to finally almost get things back to normal after a year and a half of having to go and be protected, protect yourselves.
More than 37 million people plan to travel 50 miles or more this weekend, according to AAA. That's up 60% from last year. About 9 out of 10 holiday travelers will get there by car. But during those pit stops, they're likely to feel some pain at the pump, with drivers paying the highest Memorial Day gasoline prices since 2014.
It's a little ridiculous.
Just kind of suck it up and go, okay, I guess I'm going to take it this time.
It's gone up pretty quick in the last month. Everybody's struggling. It's hard with gas prices going up.
At U.S. airports on Friday, the TSA counted more than 1.9 million people passing through security. It hasn't been that high since March 2020. The surge in travel comes as the nation heads towards President Biden's goal of 70% of adults having at least one shot by the next big holiday, July 4th. Excited fans are flocking to Sunday's Indianapolis 500 any way they can and filling the streets in anticipation.
It's just really neat to have me to be here with our daughter and to have another female in the car and have a mostly female team and kind of show her that if this is something she's interested in, it's definitely doable.
The race is expected to be one of the largest gatherings in the U.S. since the pandemic began. Michael George, CBS News.
AAA says the expected strong increase in travel from last year's Memorial Day is still nearly 6 million fewer travelers than 2019 before the pandemic hit. And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Lance Corporal Cody Pulliam is serving with the Marines, having joined in April of 2007. His hometown, Riverton. We are proud to recognize Lance Corporal Cody Pulliam, tonight's four-state hero. The number of overdoses in the U.S. reaches unprecedented levels, and the long-term issues for women who have gestational diabetes. Michael George, again, takes a look at some of this week's top health stories.
A nationwide survey of emergency medical service agencies finds a 40% jump in the number of people who died of a drug overdose last year compared to 2019. The largest increases were found in minority populations, people living in poverty, and residents of Western states. Researchers point to pandemic-related struggles and a recent spread of synthetic opioids. Men with low testosterone levels face a greater risk of battling severe COVID-19. A study at Washington University Medical School found the lower the levels, the more serious the disease, raising the risk of dying or needing intensive care. For women, doctors found no connection between hormone levels and the severity of their infections. And new research finds women who experience gestational diabetes are more likely to develop type 1 and type 2 diabetes later in life. While gestational diabetes usually disappears after pregnancy, researchers in Finland found 50% of patients later went on to develop type 2 diabetes, and a small percentage developed type 1. Those are some of this week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The United States continues to make steady progress in getting more Americans vaccinated. About 166 million people, more than half the country's population, have now received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Fresh data just released Friday by the U.S. CDC shows also that about 40% of Americans are fully vaccinated. Within those numbers, 3/4 of seniors, people 65 and older, are fully vaccinated. The percentage rises to 86% of seniors who've received at least one dose of vaccine. The CDC reports more than 292 million doses of vaccine have been given. That represents 81% of doses delivered. Well, still ahead on the KOAM News at 6, for the first time since the Capitol riot, the National Guard is no longer stationed at the U.S. Capitol.
And while we do have a warming trend on the way, rain chances have to return at some point as well. Forecast up next.
Hi, this is Alan from
It was nice that once again we were able to keep things dry after we picked up so much rain, not just on Thursday, but for the past week, it seems like. But even though we don't have anything to show you on the radar network at 6:14, This was stubborn cloud cover that really held temperatures back, but better late than never. Before we hit sunset, we are picking up on some partly sunny skies trying to return after, again, we spent much of the day with just stubborn cloud cover that refused to budge. And again, that did have an impact on temperatures today. After we hit the mid-60s yesterday, we dropped back to 50 this morning and only upper 50s, but the last reading we picked up from Joplin Regional had us finally officially hitting the 60-degree mark thanks to the peaks of the sun that we're seeing right now from 7th and Rangeline. It's 60 in Joplin, east breeze at 9. Occasionally, we have seen gusts pushing over 15 miles per hour, but the humidity, not too bad, sitting at 64%. Elsewhere around the region, we are at 60 in Fort Scott. Finally, more lower 60s the farther west you go from 69, 62 in Yates Center, 63 in Fredonia, lower 60s in northeast Oklahoma, but still a few upper 50s in parts of southwestern Missouri. So a little boost in temperatures, but once we head closer to sunset, we'll drop back into the upper 50s, lower 50s by midnight, and eventually down into the mid 40s later on tonight. Even though we're keeping quiet for this evening and for the nighttime ahead of us with some of that clearing in the sky still in place, I'm watching our next system out west, prompting severe weather out in parts of southeastern Colorado, while this frontal system stays mainly to our south, keeping the brunt of the thunderstorm chances to the south over the next few days. This stubborn upper low will ride around our little ridge just off to our west. That's going to eventually affect us with some increasing rain chances as early as tomorrow afternoon, if not tomorrow evening. So the future track at least gives us a break in the cloud cover during the evening and even for a good portion of the overnight. But another cool night as lows drop back into the mid 40s. Any good rain chances during the morning stays out to the west, but as that wave starts to nudge out of the southwest, it could bring in a few showers in our western counties during the afternoon. Otherwise, with some peaks of the sun, we should trend warmer throughout the day tomorrow. With the southeast breeze at 5 to 10, we'll go from 46 in the morning to 64 in the afternoon. Then we should expect afternoon highs to top out right around 71. Maybe a few showers Sunday evening. I think we're dry to start Monday morning out on your Memorial Day, but by sunrise, we'll see rain chances working to our western counties, and we'll plan on rain chances at lunchtime and even maybe a few thunderstorms thrown into the mix during the afternoon. So even though it's going to be cooler than usual for Memorial Day, one thing's not changing for a typical Memorial Day around here. Rain chances in the forecast, 54 in the morning, 65 by noon. I'm thinking Memorial Day will top out with highs right around 70 degrees. The extended forecast, though, does have a warming trend on the way. Maybe just a quick detour to the lower 60s, make that upper 60s on Tuesday with a better shot for rain and storms. But back into the mid 70s Wednesday, near 80 Thursday, lower 80s for the coming weekend. So, Chris, it's nice to see some dry time, but like you said, even though the rain chances are ticking up, but at least the temperatures will as we go through the week ahead.
I'm liking that warming trend, but that still seems a little cool for this time of year.
Well, given how our summers usually are around here, we'll take the cool while it's here.
That's true. It probably won't last. Nick, thank you so much. Well, coming up in sports, the Crowder College Rough Riders play their World Series opener in Grand Junction, Colorado. Plus, the Webb City girls try to move on to their first ever Final Four. Jacob Leonard joins us with that and more next.
Well, the Webb City girls are in the state quarterfinals for the first time in program history. Now, Tuesday, Webb City beat Willard 4-2 in the sectional round to earn their spot in the quarters. Now today, the Cardinals on the field against Union, aiming to move on to their first Final Four. Now 20 minutes in, Union's Mia Smith finds the back of the net. Wildcats have the first goal of the day. Now, Delaney Duke busy in the goal early for Webb City. Nice diving stop here on the shot from Maya Miner. Miner, though, gets another chance off the pass from Mia Smith. Union's second goal. Cards go to half down 3-0. A second half, Emily Gaby, her second goal of the day for the Wildcats. Final minutes, penalty kick here for Webb City's Ania Bimo. She drills it in the right side of the net. Webb City avoids the shutout, but their season ends in the quarterfinals, falling to Union 6-1.
Their aggression and pace out of the gate was hard to handle, and being against the wind early on. You just got to give them credit where credit's due. They were a good team. They were better than us today, and there's no shame in that. All of the records they've broken and the accomplishments they've made, they've pushed this program certainly to new heights, so very proud of them.
The Crowder College baseball team is in the JUCO World Series in Grand Junction, Colorado. It's the third trip to Grand Junction for the Rough Riders in program history. The Crowder is the #1 seed in the bracket. They're on the field this afternoon for their opener against 10th seeded Indian Hills. Tough start for Crowder today. They give up 5 runs in the first and go on to drop this one to the Warriors 10-3. Jeffrey Mercado had a 3-run homer for the Rough Riders. Crowder plays in an elimination game tomorrow afternoon. The Kansas City Royals opened up their series with the Twins last night with an 8-3 win. And with that win, the Royals entered the day just 1 game under 500 at 24-25 overall. Kansas City aims to take the series, get back to an even 500 today against Minnesota. Third inning, 2-0 until Salvador Perez up and out for the 2-run homer, his 10th of the season, ties the game at 2. Now in the 9th, Adalberto Mondesi over the wall and left for a 2-run shot of his own. That brings the Royals within 1. However, a few moments later, Taylor Rogers gets the strikeout to end the ballgame. Royals drop this one today 6-5. The St. Louis Cardinals, winners of 3 in a row, including the first 2 games of a 4-game series against Arizona. Game 3 between the Cards and the D-backs is tonight. Now they're out west, so you know, late start and all that. First pitch is at 9:10. Adam Wainwright gets the start tonight for St. Louis. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Tonight on the KOAM News at 10, we'll have more on the efforts to clean up the Little League fields at Landreth Park. Plus, we'll tell you more about the archery program offered by the Missouri Department of Conservation and how the Webb City Police Department is helping keep kids safe. Those stories and more tonight at 10. Well, for the first time since the insurrection, National Guard is no longer stationed at the U.S. Capitol as they wrapped up their tour this month after securing the complex following the worst outbreak of violence since the War of 1812. Nicole Killian spoke with a pair of guardsmen who were there from the early days after the riot.
As soon as rioters took over the Capitol January 6th, it didn't take long for Captain Patrick Richards to get the call.
It was pretty surreal for me. Like most Americans, I saw it happening on TV. Seeing the evidence of that building being broken into was emotional for me.
Why was it emotional for you?
Just because it's a symbol. It's the center of the United States. It's our Capitol building.
Captain Richards and First Sergeant David Lopez were both deployed in late January. Lopez served 2 tours of duty in Iraq, but never imagined he'd have to defend the home front like this.
I was never expecting this. This is what we trained for.
From the pleas for help right after the riot to the inauguration,
you solemnly swear.
Around 26,000 troops were activated at the height of the mission. Some enduring cold floors and parking garages and manning barbed wire fences around the clock.
We're trained to fight foreign threats, and to be defending from possible domestic threats or our fellow citizens was the most challenging for me.
And then there was another attack, taking the life of U.S. Capitol Police Officer Billy Evans. But out of tragedy came trust and newly forged friendships with Capitol Police.
We feel as though that they're a brother and sister force for us.
Bipartisan bonds also developed with those they serve to protect.
Thank you all from all 50 states for your patriotism,
allowing these guardsmen to leave the Capitol with confidence.
I think it's also a safer place.
I'm just glad I'm a part of it. It's history.
And pride to take home. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
Nick Kelly, join us with a final check of that forecast. Temperatures just not where they should be for this time of year right now.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we're still in a dry mode here in our weather setup. So we'll take it as we continue through the evening and for a good portion of the day tomorrow. We'll drop back into the mid-40s. We'll top out at 71 tomorrow. However, our next wave out west wants to bring in maybe a few showers late Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, but the rain chances pick back up for Memorial Day through Wednesday, but there will still be a warming trend. 71 for Memorial Day, then eventually mid to upper 70s for Wednesday and Thursday.
All right, Nick, thank you. That's our time for now. Our next news time is at 9 o'clock. o'clock over on Fox 14. We'll see you back here at 10 on KOAM. Latest news, weather, sports, anytime, anywhere. Head over to KOAMNewsNow.com or the KOAM News Now app. And thanks for making us part of your night.